Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Tumbleweeds and Tombstones, the game where each week my players accuse me of trying to kill them, and I have to let them know that they're already dead.
Former player right here.
Won't! I'm not gone!
Yes. The remains of a player who asked me, what's initiative again? Before we get into everything, we do need to mention the sad passing of Anne Rice on December 11th. She was a cornerstone of vampire lore. As a matter of fact, to the best of my knowledge, she was one of the few people and one of the first people to ever question things from the vampire's perspective of really looking at the curse of vampirism and how it affects them on a human level. And because of that, we got tons of spin-offs of, the Twilight sagas,
That's what you mentioned first, really? Ugh.
The True Bloods, even looking at it, all the different spin-off. I mean, really, she was the mother of modern vampire lore. And one of those main things that was inspired by that was Vampire the Masquerade, which we are playing now. So without her, we wouldn't be getting to play this awesome game that we've now been all playing together for over 2 years. So our thoughts go out to her family, and it's a loss to the vampiric community as a whole. So we acknowledge her passing and hope that she has found peace.
It's apple juice.
It's always apple juice.
The piece? Oh, the cup, right.
Yes. My piece is apple juice. But
I wouldn't be here but for Interview with a Vampire and Louis. So, cheers.
Exactly. All right. I'm in my cozy attire, as this is going to be, yes.
Also, there will be no game next week as holidays and family obligations and blah, 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 blah.
Was actually just going to mention that. Absolutely.
How dare you?
As I was saying, that is why I'm in my cozy attire, so you can see me in my festive holiday gear, as we will not be playing next week. Thank you for stealing my thunder, you son of a bitch.
Don't bring my mother into this. It's true, but don't bring her into this.
Sean, you know that we don't listen, so you needed to tell us twice at least
right,
anyway.
It's par for the course. I don't know what I've been expecting after all this. Hopefully, guys, since this is the last game of 2021-ish, maybe, we'll see after the holidays. We've been talking about it for a long time. I was thinking actually of hosting a one-shot at my house, as it is cold as balls, so I don't think we'll be playing in the back of Chad's backyard until it warms up a little bit and gets a little less rainy, although that does mean I'll have to work harder to summon wind for dramatic effect. But maybe
I have sound effects,
right, so maybe we can go ahead and do a one shot. We can record that. You can see us fumbling along with technology and a one shot of information, and then hopefully by early January we can start playing in person again, all except for our wonderful Bruja, who is not in California anymore.
Escape!
That does not mean that Walter will not continue to join us unless he dies in these next couple of missions. It just means that he will be our one floating digital head, as the rest of us are in person.
I think he's been the one that's been killed off the closest, so it is a possibility.
I mean, between him, it's really a race between him and Liam of which one is going to meet final death first.
I think I just ended up in the worst torpor.
Yeah.
Viewers, if you believe that the Tumbleweeds and Tombstones corporate office should sponsor Walter to fly out to California each week for game, leave that in the comments.
And with that, please also give a donation of at least $200 or more, so that way we can start the Tumbleweeds and Tombstones corporate office and actually afford to send him out here.
I can make a letterhead that says LLC. It doesn't matter.
Right. We're a charitable donation. What's the charity? Us. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump.
Jeff seems to have sprung antlers.
The festivity is spreading. All right, let's go ahead and jump into tonight's episode with first our recap. So, as the Obsidian Spurs are slowly but surely making their way towards the Lupine village with their guide Peta, a young member of their group who, being attacked by those that betrayed and killed the last chieftain, Murukuro, also Peta's illegitimate father. He has struck a deal with you all for the betterment of his people who are not part of the warring party, to try and let you do what you're going to do, either try and take them on head on or try and expose Murukuro's son Ichitai for the murderer that he is, hoping that they'll turn on each other and do most of the work for you, giving you a window to maybe cut off the head of the snake, in return for him being able to get the non-fighters, the women, the children, the elderly, out of there and not get caught up in the middle of this. You made your way out of a plateau that ended up inside, holding a burial ground, specifically, as you found out, for individual warriors of his people who had agreed to undergo a certain spell that, among other things that you're not sure of, at least included the engraving of their skeletal remains to tether their spirits to this location and act as guardians protecting this passage. After you destroyed the bodies enough so the spirits couldn't latch on, a little bit of grave robbing from Noah and Liam led to you having a lupine talon and a lupine skull, without Peta knowing. You then made your way down the treacherous switchback path down the other side of the plateau, where the next clue, the following the mother's tears, a frozen river that led its way up towards a mountain range and a forest up ahead. While traversing this, certain members of your party noticed an odd reflection underneath the ice, and upon closer observation, realized that this was actually large deposits of what seems to be gold underneath the ice.
Gold!
Gold in them dar hills. Liam's kleptomania came in as he literally punched through the shallow part of the ice to get a handful of mud that had gold in it. As you went deeper on, there seemed to be a larger deposit of gold that seemed to be supernaturally calling to you, beckoning you to get out onto the deeper part of the frozen river. Most of you were able to shake it off, except for Atris and your gun-toting, belligerent aide from your employer, Mr. Pembroke, in the form of Asmodeus, fell prey to this call, went out to the ice, and noticed that underneath there were dozens of skeletal remains of those who seemed to have been called here. At the last second, you noticed that your reflections in the ice seemed to be moving independently of you and pulled you under into this psychic battle. Those on the edge of the ice were almost pulled in, but were able to shake it off. And Asmodeus and Atris had to fight with shadow reflections of themselves, hurling insults and poking at insecurities that they may have had, with some guidance from both Peta and from Henry. You were able to, those of you that were not under the spell of this, were able to ascertain that physically removing them from the ice that was slowly creeping up their bodies would help, but it was also goading them on and reaching out to them with your minds that was going to help on each side as they struggled within. Liam, picking up at this and jumping at the chance to make fun of his teammates, took the helm on this. And sure enough, you were able to break your teammates free from this spell. but not without noticing that gold seemed to be pouring from their tear ducts, and the tears of the mother seemed to be a little bit more literal. However, those who did come under the spell and come out strong on the other side noticed that this battle of wills left them feeling more willful and their willpower fully restored. So there was some benefit to coming out victorious from this battle. And that is where we left off. So we'll go ahead and jump into tonight's episode of Tumbleweeds and Tombstones. Obsidian Spurs, you are now once again on the edge of this frozen river, taking a moment, realizing what's transpired. Atris, you feel your will restored, this battle of wills, not leaving you drained, but actually the opposite of feeling more mentally strong and secure, having bested these darker thoughts that you've been perhaps struggling with quietly for whoever knows how long. The rest of you noticing that maybe it's best to stay away from touching the river, and you are on the river bank right now. What do you do?
I think it's time to move on.
I will never tired of getting mind fucked, but this time, while I'm not going to repeat the process, I feel a little more refreshed. But I agree. Let's continue to get the fuck bored.
I'm just surprised it was y'all and not him that ultimately ran in. And Walter points at Liam.
I'm not going to argue.
I guess you were the first to run in, actually.
True, but I was not compelled to run in.
Waya, how are you holding up with all this?
I mean, him and Noah should be healing.
Concentrating on survival, but I think everyone should stop being so greedy and falling for every trap. But I'm just sitting there concentrating and being like, oh my God, I knew you guys would get into trouble somehow.
All right.
How much does Wea know about the goings on outside of the carriage, incidentally?
Honestly,
I was about to
Well,
say,
that's
we're
right.
not back in the
That's right.
carriage,
He and Noah are very focused on healing right now.
Yep. Very much so.
Now I will say, just as a reminder, this is not me guiding you in any way. You guys do know that you have those vials of blood, or vitae specifically, that would help expedite the healing process. Both Noah and Ware, you chose to forego that unless the situation absolutely called for it. But I'm just reminding you that that is still on the table if at all you change your mind.
We have a lot more ag damage than we have vials for already, and we haven't even gotten past the second challenge yet. So
yeah, this was the second challenge. We've got the third challenge now, which is the Brothers Cry. Maybe that'll just top us all off on health. Maybe.
Message heard, but we're I think we're resolved here.
Okay. PETA looks visibly shaken. I'm not even gonna make you guys roll for it. Not quite so much as having
Henry, stop shaking PETA.
all right. But PETA just looks, I mean, he's not as pale as you all are, but he's looking pale, and he looks at all of you and he goes, I apologize. I want you to know that I am not trying to lead you into danger. This is the path that I have always walked. But I think it's safe to assume that in the presence of those that are not of my people and still have connections beyond the material plane, there are going to be safeguards that I was not aware of.
So you have been here before, right?
Yes, this river is a clear marker on the direction to go and quite refreshing to drink from when it's not frozen. My people have walked
I think
this
I'll
path.
pass on that.
My people have walked this path many times, but this is the first time that these traps have ever happened.
Well, perhaps next time you should look once more just around the river bend.
Don't sue us. Anyway.
Looks like we're the most special guests that have been up this way in a while then.
I'll say, unless one of you wants to make a roll, he seems earnest. He doesn't seem like he's goading you on. He doesn't seem like he's, again, unless one of you wants to make a roll.
I mean, to be fair, I think if you were trying to kill us, you've had ample opportunity at this point. Things like this just seem to happen to us regardless.
It's just
I've made
hard.
so many rolls about his earnestness already. I'm good.
And by the way, for the record, if any of you are looking, Henry is taking this entire time to like kind of get near to where Liam's ring is, or at least the oil lanterns on the carriage, because I think you turned off the ring, right, Liam?
Yeah, I turned off the ring when we got outside because,
Okay, so
beacon.
There's a couple of oil lanterns that are on the carriage to provide a little bit of light so you're not just traveling in pitch darkness. And Henry, now that the danger has passed, has sidled up to that and is just writing away in this journal that he has.
What?
I'm gonna go over to Henry real quick on like a quick sidebar. It's like, Henry. So while we were inside the cave, I stole a few bone talons, and I kind of
Henry, you did what?
Shut up! Be cool. Be cool.
We are going into a lupine village, and you stole the remains of their venerable elders.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this without saying more. I am not the one who did the worst thing. Anyways, there are some inscriptions on the bones that I think you might like to look at.
Would I? Yes, I would. The point is,
I love it.
Liam, what are your languages again?
Spanish, French, English. I think that's it.
I think you've spent enough time. You were one of the ones that spent some of the most time with Henry, so I think he's aware of this. So in French, because he just feels it's the most foreign language to this area, in perfect French, he starts saying to you, I swear to whatever power is out there, if you get us killed, I will come back and kill you.
No, that tracks.
I know shit you don't even know about yet. Just do not test me.
But
and God damn you. Fuck you. Give me that scratch. You know me, and I'm not sure I'm comfortable with this.
Look, do you want to ask questions or do you want to learn?
Both! One leads to the other. Still in French. As the rest of, I'll say, especially Wea, with your heightened senses, you're just hearing this like heightened whisper by the carriage, kind of somewhat hearing it as you're kind of focused on healing, as just random French is being yelled back and forth in a hushed tone.
What the hell is going on out there?
We're baking crepes.
The hell are those?
Really flat pancakes. but yes, it's obvious that Henry is interested, but questioning.
It's okay. Just give me a sheet of paper and some ink, and I'll rub one out for you when I get a chance. In French.
In perfect French.
And he just rips a page out and
Yeah, see? Just walk away.
Yeah, he begrudgingly is, God damn it if you're not scratching that itch for him. But all right. Is there anything else anyone wants to do here?
Not this location.
Okay.
I will walk up and mom knock off Asmodeus's golden tears. But that's it.
What the fuck? What's going on? What do I have here?
Your tears are rich. Also didn't know a big man like you could cry.
Fuck you, I'm precipitating from my eyes. Yeah, I know words too. I've talked to Octavian. Break real quick. Fans at home, if you recognize, this is my lovely wife, Miranda, who also plays Adele and will hopefully be joining us again soon.
Next year. No.
Yeah.
It's so far away.
Thank you.
All right, but Miranda, come by and share one of those with everyone.
All the kisses.
Fans who donate $10 can get their own Adele kiss.
Thank you for ordering food.
Yeah, I got beef and cheese quesadilla and also something else that was on your
Okay.
the potato things.
Okay. Did you get no sour cream?
Yes.
I love you.
Get what you eat, what you want, put away what you don't.
Cool. Thank you.
And you also have your leftovers in the fridge if you can't wait.
I have a headache.
I like how my
What
hair's
about
just
the
naturally
crepes?
swooping around this.
Take some meds. All
I,
right.
I'm getting a nice natural swoop around here, and I just want to leave it.
Right? Like you're the most flamboyant of elves.
That
I was
Jesus
telling everyone that probably
What? Why are we suddenly on the emergency broadcast system?
you can join.
Yeah.
And test that for playing
The phones all did a thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
the local word for someone.
When it arrives.
Oh, right. I don't live near you anymore, so I'm not going to get the same emergency alerts. as
That is
everyone.
true. I don't even know if it sounds the same.
All right. Excuse me, everyone at home. I had to greet my wife. Anyway. So, anyone else, anything you want to do here, or are you ready to pack up and keep going?
I'm ready to get on the road.
Okay.
I'm ready to get the hell away from this little stream.
It's gonna be a while because you're literally following it the entire way. However, you do
Sooner we
notice-
start, the sooner we're out of it.
You do notice that PETA leads you a good 5 yards in the left direction, so that way you're not so he can still see it, but not so be right on top of it anymore.
Much appreciated.
Same order, who's driving, who's riding shotgun. Walter, are you still riding on top? Asmodeus on the turret?
I don't think I'd be changing locations.
Well,
The
are
only-
Noah and Wea inside healing anyways?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so then there's a seat on the bench next to me anyways.
I feel like I was driving because Liam was inside, but that may have been earlier than all of this anyway.
That was when
Anyway.
you and Wea were talking.
If Liam's driving, then I'm on top of
I'm
the
asking who
carriage.
wants you guys can change it up at any
And
time.
if-
Who wants to
Well,
drive?
I'm saying this to
Bartleby
Liam,
is
too.
out of it because he's been fed on, and Noah and Wea are healing.
if you got a reason that you don't want to drive, then I'll take the reins. Just let me know.
Oh, I just want to do something real quick, but if you could just take the reins for a bit, that would just be very helpful.
Got it. I hop into the bench and take said reins.
Okay. And then Liam, what are you doing?
Oh, I'm actually inking up one of the claw bones so I can make a press of the.
Okay, so you
Oh.
go inside. Is anyone riding shotgun with Walter?
I mean, I can do that on the side seat up front.
You could, but you would have to go inside, take the skull, unless you're just.
No, I have the claw bones myself.
Okay, so you're just doing a rubbing of the claw bones.
Yeah.
Okay. Atris, are you then inside like you were last time? I'm sorry. I know I did the waiter thing and asked you a question as soon as you put food in your mouth.
If there's no empty seat in the front, yeah, I should stay on the inside.
Okay. There is an empty seat up top with Asmodeus. Asmodeus gets back on the turret. You can get back on the roof.
There's just like room up there.
There's room, but Atris is mentally contemplating does she want to sit next to that asshole.
I mean, the pro con is you have to sit next to that asshole. The benefit is you have a lower difficulty if you want to make perception checks on what's going around.
Practicality's going to win. She's going to go up top.
It's also a bit crowded inside.
Yeah.
It is. With the healing factors going on in there, it is true.
And the humans.
Yeah. Because
So, yeah.
I will say that Henry chooses to actually ride his horse.
Oh. Does he have a separate horse?
He does. He did bring his own horse.
Excellent.
Because it's his
So
horse
then-
and your horse, Walter, that are tethered behind. So he actually chooses to unhitch his horse from the back and chooses to ride it.
Who am I thinking of? Oh, I thought Asmodeus brought his. I thought Asmodeus's horse was somewhere.
He's been attached to that turret all
He
trip.
definitely wants to ride one thing though, and that is the turret.
No, Asmodeus actually attached his horse. His is one of the 4 horses that are attached to the front of the carriage.
Well, cool. I'm glad to see Henry out, and the one thing Walter's gonna keep in the side of his vision and mind is like how Henry is.
Go ahead
Like
and give
whether
me
he seems healthy.
perception plus empathy roll.
Okay. Canceled itself. I got 3 successes on it.
Okay. As of right now, Henry seems with 3 successes. He seems like Henry, like he seems the same person that you guys have known this entire time. And he seems very fascinated on what's going on, like the scholar in him. You see a little bit of overlap with the personality of, oh my God, my brain is farting right now. Beckett. That same scholarly, like you can see why Henry was assigned to the library here. You've seen his battle prowess, like he definitely was a vampire hunter at one point in his career, but the pursuit of knowledge, the pursuit of the unknown, the pursuit of understanding is what Henry is all about, and being able to be trekking, as far as he's concerned, virgin territory is kind of a dream come true for him. And you get the idea that this journal that he's been keeping is all about filling in the blanks of information that he didn't already have about this journey.
So he just looks alive.
Oh yeah, he looks like he's in his heyday right now. He's in his
Well, I will make sure everyone's situated, and yeah.
Okay. I need everyone who's Chad, I assume is Sonoy in the carriage, or is he just running alongside?
Is there room for him in the carriage?
I mean, on the floor.
Sure.
Okay.
Since we're getting closer to the territory, it's probably safer that way either way.
Okay. Then I need, let's see, that would be Atris on the top, Liam on the side seat, and Walter on the driver's seat to make a perception plus alertness roll.
Ooh.
Difficulty is 7 because it is nighttime and dark.
I have one success.
2 successes for the reroll. Oh, only 2 successes.
Oh, F yeah. Well done.
So one success
One.
for Walter. How many successes for Liam?
The one gave me 2.
Okay, and Adris, you've got 2 as well. Okay. None of you see anything that's cause for immediate alarm. Like you're definitely on high alert of realizing that you're getting closer and closer to the Lupines like home base. And that definitely is cause for concern. But there's nothing that is immediate red flags that you guys see. I'll say you guys ride out the rest of the night. PETA helps guide you to a place that he feels there's a small grove of oak trees, leaves gone for the winter, but he feels it'll at least give you some visual cover as you can kind of park the carriage in there, and at least it won't be line of sight where you just have a random carriage hanging out of nowhere. And that's where you guys are going to probably want to bed down for the dawn. Same method as last time. It's going to be really cramped. You guys are going to be kind of sardined. All the vampires are going to be kind of sardined inside the carriage, but at least it protects you from the daylight.
It's our clown carriage.
Yeah. Is there anything anyone wants to do before the night happens?
When Bartleby wakes up, before we go to bed down for the day, I will give Bartleby the same instructions as before. If you can hunt any live game for us to have available, because I know some of our party still needs blood. I'm fine.
I will send a Sonoy to help with that as well.
Okay.
Like we did
So same hunting party. It's going to be Sonoy, it's going to be Bartleby, and it's going to be Henry. You all bed down for the day. Let's go ahead and first do Wea. Go ahead and do your nightmares roll for me, please.
Okay.
By the way, I will say for a full day, you spent the blood. Both Noah and Wea, you heal a point of act.
Yeah.
Right.
4 successes on the nightmare roll, so I'm good there.
You have no nightmares. However, Noah and Henry, you do feel a presence. Sorry, Noah and Wea. You feel a presence trying to make connection. Go ahead. I need both Wea and Noah to make a perception plus awareness roll.
What is it? Sorry?
Ooh, perception awareness.
Perception awareness.
Does this have to do with the spirits of the dead? Because I have.
It does.
Yay!
What difficulty?
Standard difficulty, unless you have something that's going to alter.
And then
I got a
mine would
3.
be -2. So mine's difficulty 4. Eight successes.
Shit. Okay, so we're going to start on this one. Noah, we will be getting to you on this after.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah.
You did it.
Miss Cleo shows up on a telethon and starts talking to Wea directly. Just
with those successes, you know to ignore Miss Cleo. Like, you know, like, and block.
I mean, she's dead now, so.
All right, Wea. The nightmares do not come this dawn. But you feel a presence trying to make a connection. It's like a knock on the door, not aggressive. It is not forcing its way through. And you do not feel any animosity in this. But the choice is yours whether you want to let it through or not, knowing that it may affect whether or not you get a full day's rest or not.
And the full day's rest is just a willpower point?
Mechanically speaking, yes.
I'll let it through. I'm feeling pretty willful.
You know that dreams are rare for your kind. You've been dealing with the nightmares, and that's its own thing. But you know that when you all rest for the dawn, it's not sleep. It's death taking you for the day. And yet, this is the first time you've had a dream that has not been a nightmare since you've been embraced. And in some ways, it's the closest you felt to being alive in that aspect of the concept of dreaming. And this feeling like sleep rather than succumbing to death. And you feel at peace with this. There's no fear. There's no innate dread. And you're back at Star Rock. And you look around and you see the constellations carved in the gems in the stone above you. You feel the stone beneath your feet. In front of you, there's actually a fire. And contrary to, there's that brief moment of cringe, but you realize that there's not that fear of the beast lurking. The beast actually seems blissfully quiet. And it's just Wea. And sitting across from you is the vision of Murukuro. But across what was his eyes is a white band of fabric tied behind him. And he's just sitting across from you. Wea. Of the Cherokee. Or should I say, of the Gangrel? Never got the chance to ask you which you prefer. And he kind of looks at you expectantly.
Oh, I'll just kind of like look around and look puzzled and strange. And, well, I guess lately it would be Gangrel, but both would do. I'm still Cherokee.
You're still trying to... And you can almost feel him like staring at you, even though his eyes are covered. And he spread something in the fire before you, which is glowing this blue-green color in front of you. And as he spreads something in front of it, it sparks up and you see an outline of a figure that looks like yourself. But then you see another that seems like a warped and twisted wolf. You're still trying to walk afoot in both paths. Tell me, what's troubling you right now?
Maybe what our mission is, what we have to do next, and whether or not it's gonna end up bad, and innocent people are gonna get hurt, which I don't want. But at the same time, it is a mission we must complete and see through.
What do you have to do next?
Prove that we didn't murder you.
And that causes you trouble to prove what you have to do.
I just don't want anyone getting hurt for us having to prove ourselves. It's troubling to think that there might be casualties. Hopefully they're not. That's why we have PETA here. Hopefully everything goes well, or well enough as it can. But innocent lives being lost is not the objective. It's what I'm afraid of.
Why do you feel you have to do this?
Well, I am bound under contract. And would I go back on what I signed myself?
So in reality, you choose to do this.
I suppose I could just run away and forget about it all and just choose not to accept my fate, and then look over my shoulder the rest of my existence.
Fate. And you see a blue light kind of glow to his right side behind him. It's funny how we seem bound to it, but so few realize how much control we have over it. Do not blame everything to fate, Leia the Gangrel. You have more control than you think you do. What is holding you back right now?
Well, fighting these nightmares every night and seeing the horrible twisted version of myself, it's something that holds me back.
Your kind each has a struggle. Some of you choose it. Some of you have it forced upon you. I'm afraid, and he gestures to his left eye, I don't see what I used to. So I don't know which one it is for you. But this is your existence. This is why my kind knows it to be a curse. You have a path to walk. You feel held back. What would free you?
I am unsure, but I'm just so unsure of what, other than the nightmares, I'm unsure what holds me back, other than knowing that things could have been different. You know, like you said, it's a curse that I live with. or exist with. I do not live any longer.
Many have asked me about the gift of that was my eyes. Looking to the past, you have so much focus on that. I fear you might trip on what is in the now. If we are looking back, we cannot see what is before us. Yet if we do not look ahead, we cannot see what's coming. You are what you are. These nightmares are extension of yourself, Wea. When you can learn that, perhaps you'll find a way to fight them. You must accept the path you took and decide where it leads from here. If I still had the ability, I would offer you to ask me one question and look into the past or the future for you. But that gift has been robbed from me. And I cannot rest until that situation is settled.
We will settle it, or at least help the resolution.
Help the people, Wea. And in that, find a modicum of peace. Use that as a shield against your own mind and forge a path forward. Do not be trapped in the mire of the past. And with that, he looks at you and goes, I have but one blessing left to offer. Your group will need your strength. But strength comes in many forms, Wea. Find your strength again. And be shackled to your weakness no more. Wea, how many points of ag do you have currently?
3 points. Because I had 4, but I healed 1.
All right. Go ahead and make a courage roll for me.
Courage.
Courage.
1 success. That was a 9.
Okay. And before you, in the smoke that comes from the fire, it lit in this blue-green flame, you see the things that you're most ashamed of. You see repeating the murder of your mother, the leaving of your people, the question on whether you can ever come back, and the hero you thought yourself to be versus the monster you're wondering if you are, played out in silhouettes in the smoke in front of you. And though you're barely conscious of it in this form, you look down at this form of yourself sitting before him and you notice the wounds start to heal. You heal 1 ag.
Wow. Awesome.
The past can teach us many things, Wea. But do not lose yourself to it. And with that, the smoke starts to billow and the fire starts to dim, and you lose yourself to the sleep of death. Noah. A similar vision comes before you. You yourself did not get to meet Murukuro, except for, I believe, if I remember correctly, not till you saw his corpse. You met him one time?
Yep, just before he died.
That's right, in the geyser cavern. So you haven't had as much experience, but this is new to you. You have never had dreams before. You have never had nightmares. Since your embrace, it has been death that has taken you each and every dawn. A complete lack of self until your body reawakens almost forcibly by the initiation of Vitae each night. And for the first time since your embrace, you feel almost this lucid dreaming that you have not experienced since you were alive. And you open your eyes, and around you is this cavern. And in front of you, a fire of blue-green flame that causes you to recoil until you realize that it's not triggering the beast. And the beast seems quiet. And for the first time, Guy seems to be in front of you, not Noah. This is the first time you felt like yourself since the embrace. And you look at your hands, and they are not gnarled, they are not boiled and greenish pale in color.
What do you need? Oh, definitely.
This is the first time that you felt like Guy without the use of obfuscate. This isn't an illusion. This isn't a mask. This is yourself.
Mhm.
As you look around the cavern around you, there are indescribable numbers of imagery carved on the wall, very cave drawing-esque, very primal, very origin of mankind. And they spread out in a spiral around the floor and crawl up the walls and then complete in the ceiling. You've never been here before. And you look at the spirals and they seem to be a history, a telling of the complete history of the Lupine people, from their origins as it sprawls up to the current tribe of them that are in this location in Southeast Texas. And the more you stare at the drawings, the more they almost seem to come to life. Pictograms of women and children cooking and baking in their village, and the men going out and hunting, and you see them living alongside wolves or becoming wolves and things like that. You see battles and conflict. It's almost too much. You can't stare at any one image for too long because it starts to play out and you swear that the images are moving and playing out the scene, and it becomes too much for your mind to handle. And across the flames, you see Murukuro, but his eyes bound in a white cloth. And he stares at you. Hello, Guy.
Hey there.
Or do you prefer Noah?
Ooh, been a long time. Not too sure anymore.
Whichever you prefer.
Let's go with Noah for now. Been a few years since I've been Guy.
You're hurt. And you look down and you see the same wounds that penetrated you from the combat under the plateau.
Tis but a flesh wound.
Hmm.
I can fix it with duct tape.
With what?
I think it's a saying or something.
Do not understand why one would want to adhere ducks to themselves, but we didn't get a chance to talk for very long before.
Yeah, there seems to have been an accident.
It was no accident, Guy. Or excuse me, Noah. This was meant to happen. I knew it would long before it did. Yet, knowing the future often means respecting when it should not change. What are you most afraid of?
Dying not in a hole, forgotten. Just on the side of the road somewhere.
Your legacy is important to you. How would you want to be remembered?
Some kind of strong badass type.
And what to you is strength?
The ability to move more dirt.
So a very literal sense. Why do you want to be remembered this way?
Well, that probably goes back to when I was little. Couldn't do much to help my mom and pa. Always wish there was more hands around the house. But all we ever needed was digging. So I kept doing that, and I barely got any stronger. Then the embrace happened, and I got a lot stronger. I didn't need to dig as much. So I'm not too sure of what I am anymore or what I need.
And you see a smile start to curl across his lips. Knowing that we do not know is the first step to understanding. I think you still have strength in you to find, though it may present itself in ways that you do not regard yet as important. What is your aim in journeying with this group? What do you hope to accomplish?
Well, they seem like good folk. Explosive, but good folk. in the end, I'm just trying to show my clan that I'm worth something. Maybe make a name for myself even more than just in the clan, but outside. Make a real impact in the world.
You are not the first, nor will you be the last to wish to leave their mark on the world. And he gestures around to all the imagery around you. I think you have the chance of proving your strength to yourself. And when that happens, you will not care what others think of you. And in doing so, your legacy will be secured. What are you lacking right now?
All kinds of things. Pretty face to start. But I'd say something more useful to us right now might be knowing how things work around me.
So would you wish to strengthen your mind or strengthen your body?
My body is plenty strong now. I think I'm going to need to come up with a good idea with what to do with all this muscle now. So I think I'm going to need strength of, what'd you call it? The mind?
Yes. You are hurt. You will find the strength to fight through it. Noah, how many points of ag damage do you have?
I have one left.
Okay. I have faith that you'll find a way. But in strengthening the mind, that is an important feat. Noah, give me a conscience or conviction roll.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever rolled that.
Conviction. On the same line.
Oh my God, 2.
What's your wits rating?
3.
May you see what is obscured from others and be able to separate truth from opinion. And in that moment, all of the gems and carvings in this, you look above and you see a complete recreation of the night sky, but in gems on the ceiling, and these carvings that go along, and you see the connection between each of them, and you understand the bigger picture of that our legacy is intertwined unimaginably by countless others and every other one we touch, and there's connections that we cannot see. Go ahead and add a permanent dot to your wits roll score.
Ooh.
That's huge.
Ooh la la. I'm going to need to find a pen.
as you feel like you can now see the connections that other people often miss. And in that moment, the smoke starts to billow from the fire in front of you, and your vision goes to black, and the sleep of death takes you again. Everybody now, go ahead and you wake up and spend a blood to do so.
How do I still have eye crust after being dead this long? Oh.
Is anyone at or below half on their blood pool?
No, I just barely above half.
Okay. Y'all wake up and start to pile out of the carriage. And before you actually see 3 deer.
Free beer?
3 deer.
Sorry, I had a Bender moment.
4 rabbits. And 6 birds of various sizes.
Damn. They did good.
Yeah. I'll have Danny and Chad forgive me. I rolled for Bartleby and Sonoy.
Oh, soup's on.
So, for those who can feed from them, which is everyone except for Liam and Atris, as a reminder, the deer are worth 3 blood each. The birds, I'll say as a total, are worth a half a blood point each, so 3 total. So let's see. I said how many deer? 4?
Yes, you said 4 deer.
Or did I say 3?
I don't recall.
I do, but I'm telling you it's 4.
I think it was 3, but
Okay, 3. So that's 9 plus 3 is 12. And then for the rabbits,
I think those are 1 each. That's what we had last time.
yep, and there were 4 of those. So that's another
That's 16.
16 total blood pool.
And I'm sorry, I missed it. Did Noah only get the wits point, or did he also get his ag healed?
He did not get his ag healed because he chose his mind over his body.
Okay.
All right, so
Walter
then,
actually looks around him and doesn't say much, and he scoops up all 4 rabbits
okay,
and kind of
how much blood is that for?
that's 4 blood points. So that leaves 12.
he looks around at y'all and goes, "This all right?"
Yeah.
And he, I'm gonna walk kind of to the corner of the carriage and lean against it or sit against it and get to work.
And it's 5 blood for an ag point, correct?
Correct.
3 ag.
And yeah, I'll say, Wea, you wake up and you realize that some of your wounds have healed.
Amazing. I will close my eyes and I'll just silently think Morikuro and hope that I can see what he sees in me. And I will take actually what I'm going to do, since I only have 2 ag left. Oh man. I feel like I should drink the fucking potion.
Your choice.
How many more hints do we have before we get to the village, guys?
I believe we have the Brothers Cry. I think that was the last.
You actually have two more.
We've done two. We have two more.
You have the Brothers Cry in Darkness and the Sisters Song to the True Path.
Oh yes, there's father, mother, brothers. So gotta have one of each.
Walter looks at Yue and is like, "Hi, damn, you look a lot better today." And meanwhile, Walter still has like the same big hole in him that you saw before.
Liam just keeps trying to throw like small pieces of paper through it, just to
All right, I'm gonna take 6 blood points of the remaining 12.
Okay, so there's 6 left.
I am topped off.
I'm gonna drag myself out of the wagon and drag off one deer silently without saying nothing.
Okay, so that's 3 blood points.
So we still got 3 left. Neither myself or Atros can eat it, so.
Asmodeus takes the last one then.
There you go. Someone else probably needed it.
There's something I'd like to do once I finish my bunnies, but I don't have to do it yet.
Okay. And I'll say, without making much of a roll, you guys notice that same as before, you notice a campfire far and away from you guys as not to alert you to where the presence is. And you assume that that's where Bartleby and Henry and Peta are.
Liam would like to throw a snowball at Bartleby's head.
From this distance, or are you going to stalk up close to him?
I'm going to stalk up closer.
Make a Dex plus stealth roll, please.
Two.
Okay, now go roll perception plus alertness for Bartleby.
Okay, it all comes down to his reroll. Son of a bitch. He got 3 successes.
Liam, you crouch down and you make it the perfect snowball. It is perfect. You're just imagining this exploding in Bartleby's face, phrasing. And as you get closer and you get ready to jump up, and one splashes you across the face as Bartleby was already prepared and sent one. Yes, master. Good evening to you.
I'll remember this.
I would hope so.
I shall remember these transgressions.
Is Peta with them right now?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
At this point, I'd say the 3 of them move a little bit further away from the fire as to not trigger Rushrek in you. And they approach you. And Henry goes, "Oh, good evening. I hope you all found the day restful."
I don't really get to remember much of it, or actually none of it.
Yeah.
I basically saw you a second ago.
Well, then you didn't have time to miss me.
No, but if you run a little, I'll aim my gun.
And you hear Asmodeus from back where you guys are, "I'll go in on that action."
You shot me once already. Bartleby, I will not be requiring your services today. However, if there's anything you want to do, please take care of it. I know Atris will be requiring a little bit of sustenance.
And he looks at you and just goes, it is as you command, Master, whatever you need.
To be fair, you know you're far more useful than just a blood bank. Just right now, I have no reason to put you in any danger.
Well, it is your choice. Does Atris need me?
I believe she might. I would ask her, but...
And he nods, and Bartleby heads off to Atris, so that way David can have a chat with himself.
I just like football pat him on the ass as he like passes by.
Yeah, whew. And he looks at you, and he kind of just shrugs and keeps going.
Who's my little ghoul? Who's my...
Good game.
And I just tell Henry in French that, oh, I have that item that I was telling you about ready to go.
Did you get that thing I sent you?
Well, then show me. As he kind of like, and then
Like,
he
not in front of the boy.
Right, and he goes, well, show me later. And again, this is all in French, and you get the idea that Peter does not understand anything, but Henry is very interested when you have a free moment. Atris, you see Bartleby walk up to you as you're all starting to clown car pile out of the carriage.
Bartleby, what can I do for you?
Excuse me, but my Liam said that he does not require my services for the night, but you might be a bit peckish, and he just kind of like moves his clothes aside and exposes his necks.
Bartleby, I very much appreciate it, and she will take 2 blood points from him. Which unfortunately equals 1 to me.
Yeah. So basically you get back the blood that you spent waking up tonight. And Bartleby just collapses in your arms.
Aw.
And Atris will gingerly pick him up and just lay him in the carriage in a nice position.
Most literal meaning of now I lay me down to sleep.
And also, the more human of your group did pack blankets and things like that for the cold. So you're able to tuck him in and make him comfortable.
Cool.
As he seems to be having a very sound sleep, and you are no stranger to pleasing men and leaving them sleeping. So just another night for Atris. What would anyone else like to do tonight before we go?
I figure I can drain 4 rabbits in this time. So Walter would be standing actually behind Atris, kind of watching her tuck Bartleby in and get her attention as she turns out of the carriage. Hey, I've been thinking you're having a hard time kind of filling up your vitality.
Yeah, a little bit. It's not easy when your diet now consists of just half-hearted humans, and well, I haven't tried feeding off vampires yet, but it's quite restrictive.
I'm not looking for anything in return here. Just want to say up front, what I want is for us all to succeed here and make it back. You know what I mean? So keep that in mind when I say if you think it's a good idea yourself, if you need to feed on something, Walter holds up his wrist without a watch on it. You can take maybe one draw off me and see what that does for you.
Oh, Atris, I'm gonna need you. You're above half, right? Okay.
She's now 5 points now, so she's technically 2/3.
So, but above half.
Above half, yes.
I need you to make a self-control roll. Difficulty is 7.
Yep. Saw that coming. 3. 2 successes. Add 3 to 1 gets.
That's enough. So the choice is completely yours. You do not fall prey to your beast.
I will take you up on your offer. Just be warned. My self-control is there, but it can wane. Just bear with me.
Lucky for you, I got experience with that.
All right, and she will.
I can probably beat you at arm wrestling anyhow. So if you get out of line, I'll just prove that.
Okay.
I'm just imagining Atris's luck.
Are you going to go ahead? Now, I will say, Atris, I'm not even going to make you roll for this. You do know that in choosing to drink from Walter, you would be 1 point bloodbound to him.
Yes.
Okay. Do you choose to go ahead with it?
It's not my choice to be bloodbound with all of you lot, but for this instance, I will accept your gift to keep myself full strength.
Okay.
That's why I'm suggesting it's just, a little bit. I don't want it to get weird.
Walter, what do you do to give Atris this blood?
The first thing I do is walk the hell out of sight of the carriage and the fire and beckon Atris.
I need everyone else who is not Atris or... Now, I do need to ask this.
I don't sneak.
Okay. Wea and Noah, are you spending the rest of the night healing or are you being active tonight?
And we have to decide that right now, right?
Yep.
I'm going to be active tonight.
Okay. Noah, how about you? You're muted, my friend.
I'm going to have to wake up tonight. We're way too close to the camp, and I think we need to cover.
Okay, so you're not going to spend the night healing the ag?
No.
Okay. I need everyone who is not Atris and Walter to make a perception alertness roll, please.
Three successes. All 6s.
Okay. Wait.
So you rolled a 666. Got it.
Yeah.
I got 667.
Wow. Just got a 1-up.
I got a 7.
You all see this as Atris and Walter walk away from the campsite, so to speak.
To be clear, I look at y'all and Walter just kind of holds his hand up for a second and goes, "We'll be right back real quick."
Yeah, there's no sneaking this. Okay. Walter, you guys walk deeper into this grove of oak trees. What do you do?
So if we gotta watch out for your control, then I suggest that we just stick to like the rest here and that you maybe let me get kind of a hold of your arm. And I'm gonna wow. So Atris joined the group later, so Walter hasn't had many opportunities to have a lot of contact, like physically. So it's gonna be real awkward, but Walter's actually gonna say that, and actually walk up like chest against Atris's shoulder. She's probably like decently shorter than him too, than me too. So like at least a head, I'm guessing. What's your height?
At 7.
Okay, one head of height difference. And then Walter's actually gonna reach around your far arm from behind you and like kind of lay his hand over your wrist and present his other wrist like right in front of you and say, I think this will be the safest way for it, if you're okay with that.
You're taking all precautions. I will accept your trust in this, and she'll kind of put her arm back for like kind of put more pressure on his hand, kind of indicating that she'll allow him to grab her.
I grapple Atris's hand, wrist.
Nothing like a good reach around for safety.
It's safety first.
Yeah, 100%. See,
safety reach arounds.
Show. Okay. How do you open up the? Do you just present the wrist, or what do you do?
I've done what I'm doing. My wrist is there.
If he's
it is presented.
It's presented to Atris. Gonna go take a bite.
Huh? Now, Atris, remind me, have you ever, not counting your embrace, have you ever had Vitae before?
Yes, Liam had fed Atris Vitae before she even got the Methuselah's Thirst to get 42 points.
Okay. So this is not a new experience to you. However, since the wish with the gin, other blood just has not. Animal blood does nothing, and even human blood, it tastes stale and bland and congealed, and it's basically this flavorless gelatin that you have to just choke down in order to get it through.
Yeah, pretty much Sprite when ice melts in it.
Not that bad. I actually enjoy that.
And it basically is like pounding liquid tofu without any kind of flavor to it.
Interesting.
Unsalted.
But this is what you've been missing. This is what you've been missing from feeding on humans. Because during this curse of the embrace, the one time that you feel alive, the reason it's so addicting to feed is when you're feeding. That's the one moment that you have that glimpse of almost feeling like your heart is 5 seconds away from beating again. If you just drink a little bit more, you'll feel that beat, you'll feel that rush, and you feel it again by drinking from Walter. And it's one of the times that you felt the most alive. I now need you to make a self-control roll. Difficulty is 8.
Oh, golly. Oh, gee.
LAG Willikers.
A high DC.
3 successes.
Shit. Okay.
There's a tango dance about to happen.
With 3 successes, your vision goes blurry for a second. And this purple miasma of fog goes in front of your eyes, and you remember the gin for just a brief second. And in that heartbeat, there's that moment of what if you kept going? Just a little bit more might make you feel more alive, might make you more like yourself, might give you the power to deal with not only this current threat, but finding this portal that you've been assigned to find and saving those of you that in this note that you've gotten that your home brothel has been ravished by the followers of Set. If you just take a little bit more, and you feel deep within you this beast, this creature inside of you that is both separate from you and part of you, growling, and this primal hunger and thirst, like someone who's been out in the desert for days and knows that sating this thirst is the difference between life and death. But in the brief moment before you clamp down, you're able to push that beast down, and Atris takes control again, and you are that version of yourself. And once again, as all vampires are, you have to beg that question of, is the beast you? Is it a part of you? Is it the new you, and the person the humanity that you're trying to hold on to is the lie that you're trying to convince yourself of?
Are we dysfunctional roommates?
Or some combination. It's just one of those things that is the perpetual question of all kindred, of the nature of the beast, but you're able to push it down for the moment. And Atris takes control of the reins once more, and you're able to separate from Walter, but you're having to turn away from him because just even looking at him is a temptation. And you get 1 blood point back from feeding from Walter. And you can now mark down that you are 1 point bloodbound to Walter.
Hey, now I get to run over 2 men.
Now, I will say, what that basically means is it is a +1 difficulty to disagree with any idea or plan that Walter comes up with. It also means that during combat, anytime that Atris perceives that Walter is in danger, at the start of your turn, you're going to have to make a self-control roll in order to be in full control of yourself, or if you fail, rush to Walter's aid and foregoing any other plan that Atris had of what to do in that moment.
Yeah, for all we're talking about not getting mind fucked, she now just put her mind now in 2 vampires' heads, essentially.
And again, for the players, a 1 point bloodbound is like having a best friend.
Yeah.
You can still disagree with them. You're just more inclined to be in their camp.
You handled yourself just fine. I don't know what you're worried about.
I get it. I understand. It's life. That it was there, but I definitely know. She's sort of looking at what the blood through Walter, kind of mesmerized by it for a moment before releasing his hand.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Oh. I lose that blood point, right? So I've marked that.
Mm-hmm.
And all right, so Walter's gonna let go of your wrist. Well, I hope that helps. I just you look happier. I'm glad if you are. Just we just got to be in our best shape before we get where we're going. You know.
I'd agree. Thank you, Walter. I very much appreciate it.
And I guess that's kind of part of this thing. If you want to know more about what I know how to do, just chat with me.
Definitely, I know for what I know of Brujas, it's difficult to control oneself sometimes. As I've seen you burst through doors. I'd imagine some help in self-control on my part will definitely.
No, I mean stuff like the part where you can burst down the door without much effort, that kind of thing. Let me know if you want to learn anything.
Of course. Appreciate it. Thank you.
I'm gonna beat feet back to the. I guess I'm not gonna run, but I'm gonna move back to the carriage.
Okay.
No fucking happened.
Is there anything else anyone else wants to do before you guys get started again on your trip? Where you're pretty confident that Sonoy has fed himself during the hunting expedition?
Excellent. I do got a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Does heal, if Sonoy needs to heal ag damage, that has to come from my blood, correct?
Correct.
And that's the same amount, that's 5?
Yep.
Same rules apply to that, I presume? Or is
Um,
it just instant, or does he have to sit there and concentrate?
I'd say it's more instant, just in the sense that he's not a vampire.
Right. It's just immediate healing.
Correct.
Okay. That's good. That's all. I'm good.
Okay. All right, you all start to pack up. The humans are putting out the fire and getting ready to gear up. Who wants to ride on what?
I'll
Is there a rhinoceros available?
Not in this campaign.
Damn.
If there's still a vacant spot on top, H will resume her spot on top. If Walter wants to resume spot on top and Liam takes the reins, she will go back inside. If that's the course.
Well, let me ask this: who's taking the reins?
Well, here's my question. Because Wea, you're not spending the day healing, correct?
Yeah, I'm walking around.
Okay, because I was gonna say if you're not healing, I was gonna ask you if you would, since I have the lupine spear and I have the buck antlers that we took from the night before, I was gonna see if we could help me like fashion one of the daggers.
I can do that.
Okay, so then our
that would probably have to take place inside.
yes. So
Liam's in there
Liam
involved
and Wea,
in
are
this,
you going
right?
inside the carriage then?
Yes.
I'll
Okay.
drive.
All right. So Walter's driving. Who's riding shotgun? Literally.
You know what? H would be the literal shotgun with her. Well, she's not a shotgun, but with her crossbow.
Okay. Is anyone riding up top with Asmodeus? I will say it's getting rather tight inside, so someone who is normally inside might have to come out.
Yeah, I'll ride up top with Ozzy.
Okay.
Ozzy and me are goody.
Asmodeus.
Or either of you, is anyone doing the obfuscate or the cone of silence or any of that?
Well, absolutely. I'm gonna conceal the carriage.
Okay.
So when we're concealed, do we perceive ourselves as shimmering invisible things inside the carriage?
It's one of those things of yes.
Okay, so then it's going to be harder to put the weapon together then because we
Correct.
can't actually see what we're doing.
Correct.
Okay, well then that's going to be moot.
Now, again, you could try and convey this to Noah, but it's a matter of whether or not you want the carriage to be able to be visibly seen. Or not.
Sex can't work like a cooking device.
Yeah, I think that's one of those you got to tell me before we get started so we know what we're doing.
That it's the same with the silence too, because if I throw up silence, and then it's well, actually, I technically the silence thing is once every hour, so I just have to spend a blood point every hour to keep it up. So unfortunately, it's not exactly the most practical thing to use right now.
It's up to
Every
you guys.
hour?
Yeah, it's only
Oh
available.
no!
Yeah.
So it's up to you guys. What do you want to do?
Well, does Noah tell us he's going to be cloaking the carriage, or
He has been so far, so you know that it's
he
within.
usually doesn't? He just kind of does it, and we're like, oh, here we are.
He's been cloaking it so far. You know, yeah. I guess you can figure out whether Liam just knows this, or you can make yourself roll. I make Walter roll on all kinds of stuff, whether he's gonna think of something sometimes.
Since we haven't actually gotten off on our journey yet, I'd say I'd let you guys know. Hey, I'm feeling all right today. I don't need to heal, so I'm gonna be focused on the road, what's around us, and making sure nothing sees us.
Oh, well, then
They're
never
just gonna be
mind.
looking everywhere else.
Okay. If that's the case, I'll ride shotgun and be a lookout.
In case it just be intact.
Now again, Wea and Liam, you do have the option of like riding horses or doing something outside of the carriage if you wanted to work on this.
Oh, I'm not going to try and put a weapon together on a horseback.
Liam, you
Especially when none
driving?
of us have, especially when none of us has craft. So
Liam, you driving? Or am I?
Henry's riding his own horse, right?
Correct.
Yep.
I'm
I
going to
can
double
pull a
up
gun
and
faster if I'm up there, but I can drive the horses just fine too. You let me know.
I'm just going to double up with Henry for a little bit. There's some things I wanted to ask him about.
Okay.
Oh my. Y'all have fun.
Okay, so who's driving then?
Walter's driving. Walter's got the reins. He
Walter's
hops in the
driving,
bench.
okay. Walter's driving. Atris is riding on top with Asmodeus.
Atris?
No, Atris
No,
is shotgun.
Atris?
Atris was assuming the order's now staying. There's going to be a spot on the front bench next to Walter. Atris will take that spot because that was where she was originally.
So I'm sorry, where's Atris?
Next to Walter.
Okay, so then where would Wea be?
Unless Wea is insistent on being on shotgun, then Atris will.
I will go anywhere. I don't care. Can I?
Then
I'll
at
go
this
inside. It does not matter.
At this point, Wea and Atris need to work it out amongst themselves.
I am inside then. If Atris
Okay.
wants to be up top.
Okay.
So you would think that's everyone accounted for?
Yeah, Noah, are you still inside?
I think I'm on top with Osmodeus.
Okay, so it's Asmodeus and Noah on top. Atris riding shotgun. Walter driving. Liam inside with Henry and Bartleby. And Liam, did you Bartleby's passed out because Atris fed from him.
Yep.
And then Liam, you're deciding to now I will say at this point you would have to either take Walter's horse or unhitch one of the four from the thing to ride alongside with Henry.
Well, that's why I asked, is he on his own horse? Or
He is.
so I'm just going to be on the back of his horse.
Okay. So you ask Henry if you can ride in the back with him, and he's like, that's fine. And you all take off. Okay.
Yeah. Mush.
Okay.
Mush.
The sky is leaking again. Like literally on our.
Yeah, no, it's raining out here too. All right. So,
Wow.
Liam, what would you like to discuss with Henry?
Oh, I'm just like so. I figured you'd like the etchings a bit. Any progress on just getting it to make sense?
For the time being, I would need some kind of cipher or something to be able to compare it to in order to make sense of it. But I figure in copying everything down now, once we eventually have a cipher, it will be something that can be translated down the road.
I just want to let you know, your friend's been coming out to play a little much. I'm concerned the others might be getting suspicious about your activities.
And he instantly stiffens up a bit.
It's okay, I'm stiffened too. I haven't said anything. Of course, they haven't asked me either, so I haven't lied. Just be mindful. Or you have the option of just telling them.
No. I can control it. I can keep it under control. It's fine.
That's not really the issue. The issue is that as long as you keep it a secret, they think it's something to worry about. No one's going to question whether or not you can control your darkness as long as you're upfront about it.
I'm not sure it's not something to worry about.
That's fine. Like I said, just be more mindful about things coming out to play.
Okay.
Oh my goodness, I forgot to tell you. Granted, it's back at the house, so you can't play with it right now, but one of the boxes that we got when we were actually having our little fun adventure on the train, and you, again, this is speculation only, but I believe it might be a scroll from the Library of Alexandria.
And you wait till now to tell me, and almost everyone on the carriage hears this.
You know, I've had other priorities.
No.
Also, you somewhat died.
He like pulls the reins on the horse. You have no other priorities when it comes to something like that.
Well, it's getting close to Christmas anyways. Consider it your gift to look at when we get back, which means you can't die. Although it's fully in Greek. I don't know if you speak that or read it at all.
Of course I do.
I don't know what you speak or not.
You've never asked.
I'm sorry. Be more interesting.
Yes, I must.
I'm sorry that being a scholar for the Inquisition and a slayer of vampires and a would-be candidate to turn into some sort of vampire slaying abomination isn't interesting enough for you.
Well, I accept your apology.
God.
And I just kind of wrap my arms around like the bottom of his waist, just snuggle him a little bit.
He stiffens up even more, but he doesn't stop you.
I wish to see stiffen up.
Oh my.
That would be a whole different kind of perception check.
What ages is not making.
Right. All right. I need everyone who is outside of the carriage to go ahead and make a perception plus alertness roll. Difficulty 7.
Difficulty 7. Okay. One success.
One.
Yep. Oh, wait, I'll let you do it because of your ears.
Yeah, I did say I don't have my head on, so my ears are exposed.
So one
Is this a
success
visual
for
check?
Okay.
It can be, or you can listen. 7 for Atris, 1
Wow.
for Walter,
What is 7 rolled?
1 for Liam,
5.
5 for Wea. And Wea, you can roll for Sonoy too.
Where?
I will roll first tonight.
This is why it's fun to just have Bartleby passed out.
How'd you do, Noah?
I got a 4.
Okay.
So no, I got a 4.
Okay. Everyone who got 1s, path seems clear, path seems fine. It's nighttime. You're again following PETA and a little bit behind. Henry and Liam are running kind of alongside the carriage. You're further away from the river now as to avoid any possible pitfalls with that. As for the rest of you, there are a handful of times where in the distance you do hear and it is hard to tell on whether or not those are just wolf howls or lupine communication. But it does put you on high alert of you're getting closer and closer to your target. As before you see these woods approaching as you get closer. And as you start to get closer, you do notice that the river does split. And there seems to be 2 main bodies of this river that are running perpendicular with each other for the most part, with slight variations to each one based on the topography and what's in their way, with this swath of land in between the 2 of them. And it seems like 2 river trails.
Parallel between them? Like they
Mostly.
go more or less the same
Correct.
place? Okay. Oh. Is the river next to us still lit and glowy and
You're
such?
further away from it, so you would have to move closer to it to figure that out.
Nope, not doing that.
As the river splits, PETA seems to instinctively guide you guys a little bit further to the left to keep that same distance from the riverbank, in order to not perpetually continue that same potential threat. At this point, you don't get the idea that he knows for sure that there's something there to watch out for, but at the same time, he's also not taking that risk. The river has been a threat, so as such, he's treating it like a threat.
Danny River.
Same.
And you guys see the forest approaching as you get closer and closer, and it is just every so often you see a tree here and there, and then it starts to get thicker and more dense as it is this. I would say 90% of the forest seems to be dormant trees of different types. If someone really cares, they can make a nature check for me. But it seems every so often you see a conifer of some kind, some pine tree or something like that seems to be perpetually green during the winter. But the majority of it seems to be different oaks and maples and things like that have just gone dormant.
Walter.
You're on a horse, right?
Yep.
So you're calling out to me or something.
Yep, he's riding in the back from Henry.
Phrasing.
But keep it down, man. What's going on?
Do you think these trees are boys?
Oh my god.
What do you mean, boys?
I want to name one Lou. You know, Lou Pine.
Oh my god.
Blue can be a girl's name.
Atris is genuinely.
Liam,
She
make a
wants to
perception plus alertness roll, difficulty 7, while you're doing this.
Yeah, you gotta say Atris is on a cusp of laughing and slapping Liam right now.
Oh, thank goodness. 3.
You notice as Henry ducks under a branch and you duck it just in time as a tree rat almost smacks you in the face as you keep walking, as you keep riding.
What gender you think that tree was?
I don't know, but they sure like to slap a lot.
I think it was a dick.
At this point, Peter pulls his horse back and goes, "For the love of the Great Spirit, shut up."
He started it. That was him.
I need everybody to make a perception plus alertness roll, please.
Oh boy. Now there's tree limbs in front of all of us. Ooh. What's this gonna be?
4 successes.
Is it standard?
5.
Standard diff, 5.
5.
5.
3.
3. Noah, how'd you do, buddy? You're
Noah?
camera.
You're cut off.
There he is, kind of.
Fingers.
Sort
I got a 2.
There we go. Okay. You all hear as the wind and the snow starts to pick up a little bit. The wind making its way through the branches and the trees. And as it seems to cut through as you start to get in through, as the forest starts to deepen around you, you hear the wind as it starts to as it comes through. And in times, as it's buffering against the trunks of these trees, it seems to catch at times. And you hear the hoo, hoo, hoo. And it almost sounds like someone sobbing.
This is sounded like an eerie place here. Walter's kind of muttering this to Atris, not louder.
I just expect anything to happen at this point.
Sounds like the trees are weeping.
Perhaps we're offending them.
Maybe it's a trap to lure us out.
It's the wind, y'all.
No, I think we might be at the Brothers' Cry.
Is that why you're at? Are these some masculine cries? Walter raises his voice back to where he shouldn't. Ask this to Liam.
And Peter pulls his horse back again. Be cautious. This forest marks a bloody battle between my people and another tribe.
Both natives?
Yes.
Or both lupines?
Another group of lupines. Do not speak their name, for they gave in to the worm. I now are part of the worm.
The worm.
It's a dance.
I'll say, those of you who are listening to this, which is pretty much all of you, go ahead and give me a wits plus occult roll. Difficulty is 8. If you do not have occult, the difficulty is 9.
So I don't have a cult. However, I have a background called lupine lore with 1 dot in it. Does that?
That lowers the difficulty by 1.
So
Yeah.
7?
I got a 9 and a 1, so 0.
I have 2 successes. However, I don't know. I have something thaumaturgy, which lowers my difficulty for int and occult rolls. I don't know if that's specific to this or if it just applies to all rolls.
Yeah, it applies to all rolls if there's occult.
All right,
Cool.
then 3.
Walter botched once.
Are they talking about fishing? Walter, you're sitting there going, are they talking about fishing? Because I don't know why else you would need a worm, but that seems like a weird thing to be doing out here. But then again, you did just pass a river.
They make pretty good bait, especially compared to them fake things people like to put on the ends.
2 successes for Noah. No successes for Liam. How many successes for Atris?
3.
3. And Wea, how many successes did you get?
0.
0. Okay. Noah and Atris. You remember, Noah, you remember this in your vision. Atris, you remember this from your in-person visit of the Star Rock, and there being symbols that seem like an elongated, like worm-like entity in the history of the lupine that carved around the floor, and it seemed to be the thing that they battled the most frequently. There was multiple depictions of lupines battling this thing. I'll say, Noah, that's how much you get with 2 successes. Atris with, you said 3 successes?
Yes.
There's one point where you remember a particular vision that you focused in on, a particular carving that played itself out a little bit. And you saw a group of lupines colored in silver paint as the kind of like stick figure almost-esque, and they were painted with silver.
Mm-hmm.
And you saw them from the beginning. They were one of the original groups that seemed to spiral from the floor. And you see them battling the worm. But then you see them standing before it. And these creatures that are sprouting from the worm. And then you see them bow to it. And you see their forms shift, and the silver turns to black, and their forms twist and mutate into something vaguely canine in shape, but corrupted and mutated and destroyed in form, but still imposing and terrifying.
Oh, it definitely looks like lupines got their fucked up history along with vampires.
So less a werewolf and more a werepug.
Oh, I'm going to hear that breathing all night.
I'm the one who snorts. And you vaguely remember as Peta's talking about that and talking about the worm. And you remember that lupines do refer to kindred as a whole and Cainites as leeches, which in itself is a worm-like creature. Not 100% sure what it means, but that when he mentions the worm, at least something, that imagery comes to mind from what you remember from the cave.
So like a splinter kind of corrupted lupine group that worships this worm being type of thing? Or am I understanding that
Possibly.
correctly? Okay. Well, we'll say that's how I just interpret it, because, you know.
Correct.
Danny has a theory. Liam doesn't know shit.
And so that's what you and Noah glean from what Peta says.
Okay.
Many brave warriors died in these woods. Many brothers in arms lost their comrades, and the ground drank from their blood.
Well, considering we've fought ghost grandfathers and fought ghosts of ourselves, perhaps we've got another version of these ghosts to fight. I can speculate.
Either way, I would tread cautiously.
Don't have to tell me twice.
The other threats were unknown to me. But even my people often avoid these woods.
Does that mean there was a safer way we could have gone?
A safer way, but it would take longer.
Well, we're here now. We'll just step lightly.
What we always face head on.
And Noah, remind me, did you cast the obfuscation of the carriage? I'll say I'll be forgiving, and the loud talking did not break the obfuscate of the carriage.
I already did do that, right?
So I'll be forgiving for now, but you're all very much aware that those of you that are riding on or within the carriage need to keep your voices at a whisper in order to keep from breaking the obfuscate.
I mean, I would hope that we could be common sense for everyone anyway. I know Atrius would be super for herself on that.
Yes. I need everybody to make a Dex plus stealth roll. For the one driving the carriage, that now, Atrius, did you put up the cone of silence or no? Because you guys have all been talking.
No, we've been talking, and like I said, it's one of those where like she can't have it up all the time because she will just get drained of all the blood.
It's very expensive.
So then, for everyone who's obfuscated, the difficulty is only 5. However, for the person driving the carriage, the difficulty is 7 because you're also trying to control the horses and things like that.
Okay, but I am rolling Dex stealth, not ride or whatever. Yeah,
right.
Okay.
Wow, I think that might have been my best stealth roll ever.
Oh, we got 1. Rolled 11 dice. Now we got 1.
1. Okay.
Ooh.
7.
7. Damn.
It would have been 3 if I didn't have 2 ones canceling out.
I'm rolling
Everyone's out stealthing Atrius.
slightly less than 11 dice, but I'm not getting that many. I have 3 successes.
3 successes. Okay. 4 successes. All right. So overall, a good roll. You feel relatively secure in this. Every so often, again, you hear that howl above just the noise of the wind through these trees. And as you continue to progress in, the carriage still able to traverse around, but there are points where you're bumping over uneven ground or roots or anything. And it's kind of a rough ride for those that are on top of and inside the carriage. The moaning of the wind through the trees seems to get louder and more prevalent, and you hear it from all directions as the woods seem to close in around you. And even without the benefit of the leaves of most of these trees, it seems to get darker as the canopy of the trees the branches seem to reach in and meet each other. Anyone who's on the outside of the carriage, actually no, Noah, I'll say everyone can go ahead and make a perception alertness roll. Those who are inside the carriage, this is going to be sound based.
Perception alertness, yes.
Yes.
Let's go. Oh, that's -1 die. Here we go.
2 successes for Atris.
2
Ooh.
successes for me.
2 successes, 3 successes for Liam. Sorry, for Walter.
I'm gonna have Sonoy roll this too.
Yeah. 2 successes for Liam, 2 successes for Noah.
Oh, bucks.
4 for Sonoy.
Okay.
Ooh.
For everyone except for Walter and Sonoy, who got at least 2 successes.
I got 2 as well.
Right.
At least 3.
Who got 2 or less successes. Forest starts to get really quiet. Like, other than the moaning and the howling of the wind through the trees, which is starting to batter against you guys. You kind of have to shield your eyes a little bit as the snow and the wind is blowing against you and picking up the snow. And it stings a little bit, but thank God most of you are dead, so the cold doesn't bother you. But you get the idea with this amount of sheer wind force and everything else. If you were mortal right now, you would not be having a great time. And Liam, you notice as Henry seems to be kind of trying to shield himself against it as he's riding his horse, and PETA is doing the same, and they're getting the worst of it.
I'm not sure if Liam heard that. Maybe in the bathroom.
But beyond that, all of you notice the forest is kind of deadly quiet, other than this howling and sobbing that seems to be coming through the trees, and the noise of branches rubbing against branch and the creaking of the trees. There's no crickets, there's no bird noises. Even for a nocturnal forest, there's no sounds of nature that you would normally remember. And Wea specifically, you remember flying over Taylorsville recently, and that same kind of eerie quiet that is devoid of sound. Only now with this super creepy, almost wailing of the trees and the noise of the trees rubbing against each other and creaking of branches. And there's a lack of life in this forest. For
And Sonoy?
Walter and Sonoy, I'll say your higher roll will afford you a second roll where you can make a perception awareness roll.
Ooh, fancy.
It does sound fancy right now. I got 2 successes on this roll.
Okay.
4 successes.
Where you're very in touch with Sonoy, and even though he's in the carriage or outside the carriage?
I think he's inside.
Yeah, I think we put him inside.
And where you're riding where? Inside?
I am inside as well.
You notice as you've seen Sonoy and you know what dogs look like when they can't sit restfully, as Sonoy doesn't seem to be able to lay down, and the hackles on his shoulders and neck and along his back stand up, and he just starts growling and baring his teeth a little bit. Walter, you notice that it shouldn't be this dark. Given that, again, this isn't during the spring or the summer or even the fall when there's more leaves on the trees that would add to the canopy of this forest and block out the moonlight. But the darkness seems to be getting closer and closer. And you're vaguely almost reminded of Delphina and that supernatural darkness, as you have the two oil lanterns that are hooked on the front and the back of the carriage that offer a little bit of light. And granted, you are obfuscated right now thanks to Noah. But the darkness seems to be closing in almost in an oppressive kind of way. And the moonlight...
Help, I'm being oppressed.
You didn't notice it at first because it was so gradual, very much the proverbial frog in the boiling pot of water that slowly is getting turned up. But at a brief moment, you look up at the sky and you can't see the stars or the moon. And it becomes harder and harder to guide as you have to quickly adjust the reins and drive the horses as a tree just kind of appears in front of you, and it's harder and harder to see more than a few feet in front of you.
Do I see PETA? Still?
No,
Do I lose sight of him?
you lose sight of PETA.
This isn't right. I'm slowing the horses down a little just so that I don't run us into a tree. Depending on my sight distance is what I would choose there. But I'm gonna kind of within stealthiness try to Liam and Henry.
Also, Liam and Henry, they're riding pretty much alongside where the driver's seat is because you guys were just having a conversation with them. So they're pretty right alongside you.
This ain't the tree. This ain't the trees doing this. The darkness here ain't normal. This is something else. And Walter like nudges his head up at the sky at them.
And in doing so, you guys all hear, and Asmodeus and everybody looks up if they so choose, and you notice that like beyond the branches of the trees that almost seem to be encroaching in and closing down around you guys, you do not see the night sky above you.
No stars.
Nothing, just darkness.
Oh, darkness impersonate me.
I have an idea.
As the wind blows the trees.
The cipher said that there would be light in darkness. We already heard the cries. And the only thing I can think of is that we're not going to find our light until we're fully in the dark. I would say put out the lamps.
And Henry opens up, and for everyone at home, would you remind us of this part of the cipher?
Let's see. Where is it? Follow the
brothers' cries.
In the darkness, there will be
light.
I mean, there seems no reason to distrusted so far. Everything else about this thing has come true in one form or another.
I just believe if we try and add more light, we're going to get more darkness.
You know, I gotta not run into the trees and whatnot, right? I think I need what little light I can get.
I can see. Can I, if I peek my head up, can I see in the darkness like I could with my my enhanced vision?
Give me a perception plus alertness roll.
Well, Walter, we could stop, try it, and if not,
6 successes.
Where you move the curtain aside to one of the windows, looking past the little etches in the glass that make up the runes that help protect this carriage from the dawn. You cannot see more than a couple feet in front of you. You are... And what little light again, it's weird because you're obfuscated, so it's this weird kind of semi-seen, semi-translucent view of everything. But it seems almost like the oil lamps have this like greenish glow to them, almost like what little light they're trying to produce is being slowly suffocated.
This is magical darkness. This is not normal darkness. I cannot see but a few feet in front of me. My vision will not be helpful here.
From the looks of it, it's not going to be much use anyway.
And this entire time, you guys hear from inside the carriage just that low, as Sonoy is just growling this entire time. And you've seen this Timberwolf deal with things before, and he's on high alert, and he is not able to sit still, and he is just fidgeting inside the carriage and hackles fully raised, teeth bared, growling.
Peter! I hiss forward. I hiss Peter's name forward.
And you notice that even with this wind that's blowing at you and everything else, even talking out loud, you notice that your voices are somewhat muffled. And Peter does come back, and you see him slowly approach. And he looks lost.
Like personally lost?
Like he's not aware of where you see him like look off in one direction and then turn his horse and look in another direction. And then
literally lost. Where the hell are we?
I don't know. This, as I said, we normally do not travel through this forest. Speed is of the utmost importance, but even then we usually travel during the day.
Our other guide said that follow the brother's cries, and in darkness there will be light. So I think we're gonna snuff these lights for a moment, see if something occurs.
All right, just be careful. I think we should all keep very close to each other.
That goes without saying.
We're aware of our surroundings. Go ahead. Who's riding on top? Noah, you're riding on top with Asmodeus, right? You look up and you just see this shit-eating grin curl across his face as his fangs are showing. And those weird eyes that he has, where they're all black except for the red irises, And he's just looking around, almost as if he's listening to something. Oh, this place is fun. So much pain.
Jeff, you're talking, your audio's not coming through for some reason.
Can't hear you.
There's no Noah noise at all.
Like, I see you're not muted, but your audio's not coming through.
Hold for technical difficulties.
Mm-hmm. Da, da, da.
The only thing I said was fun in what way? But then he replied with a lot of pain.
Oh, yeah, the voices on the wind. Can't you hear it?
You're a house, but it doesn't sound human.
Nah, I don't think they were. But definitely not anymore.
Are you seeing where the voices are coming from?
Nah, they're speaking a language I'm well familiar with.
The language of the dead?
Language of pain, young one. Language of pain. And you hear the howls. I need everyone who's looking out either from the carriage or on top of the carriage. Give me a perception plus survival roll, please.
That's the one thing I don't have. Oh, got one success.
One success, two successes, two successes.
3.
3, where?
Yeah.
Okay. Two. Okay. Wea, you're the only one to really notice this. Everyone else, the encroaching darkness, and as things get harder to see, it's hard not to focus on the howling of the wind, the snow being thrown into your faces, further obscuring your vision, the creaking of the branches in the trees. But where there's something about the trees that draws your attention, and you notice that they look sickly in a way, even for trees during the middle of winter. There's something off about them, and you can't quite put your finger on it. It's not the same kind of corruption by any means that you saw around Taylorsville and the corruption from the Elder and its pestilence, but there's something gaunt about these trees, something sunken and hollow almost. And you swear, as Walter slows the carriage to a halt, it's hard to see in this light, but the way the shadows play on the trees, you swear you see a face. And then another. And it's one of those things of it's got to be your mind playing tricks with you. It's got to be between the sound that almost sounds like wailing or something, you're just letting your imagination get away from you. But it puts you at dis-ease, and that coupled with the amount of dis-ease that Sonoy is showing in this situation, it's making you uncomfortable to be in these woods. And this coming from someone that spent most of his life and unlife in the wilds, one way or the other.
Place is not natural or connected to nature. This is unlike anything I've felt. I've been in nature my whole life, and this is not nature. I also see faces in the trees and in the shadows. almost like the illusions we saw in the mountain, but these it's like remnants of pain, leftover feelings. It's a lot of it. A lot of unrest here.
Is there anywhere we go there's no pain?
This is different. This is so strong it almost manifests itself. It's like almost like magic and unnatural is the most I can say. I don't know any other word to describe it.
Kita is close enough that he can hear way up from inside the carriage. He goes, I don't feel Gaia here. I've never not felt her before in one way or the other. This is a void, a vacuum. This is the worm manifests corruption. This is empty.
Somewhere down here, there's supposed to be light.
Now, have you guys, you said you were going to.
Well, no, we've been talking about it. So.
Yeah.
Well, a bunch of exposition happened, or
it did,
or realizations happened as
So
soon as Walter said that.
Is someone going to snuff out the lights?
Yeah, I reached to the one next to me and do that.
One next to Aegis, so Aegis would go in and snuff that one out.
I look back behind the carriage and ask Noah if he can reach down and snuff the two rear lanterns.
Sure thing. I'll kill him off.
You guys snuff out all the lanterns. And I'll say with all this interaction and everything else, Noah, you understand that obfuscate probably, you guys kind of see that your obfuscate kind of drops for a moment because you're having to interact with things and everything else. But it's dark enough that's like, you doubt that something's going to be seeing you in this moment, at least from the physical plane. And it becomes pitch black. I'm talking, it is hard to see the hand in front of your face. And it's that suffocating darkness, that encroaching cold and dark, and you hear the branches creaking and rubbing against each other. And the wind seems to pick up as you feel the snow almost pelting you at this point. As it buffers and hits. But it seems to get louder in a certain direction. And if you remember what the third clue was, to follow the brother's cry in darkness.
So it's coming from a direction?
I mean, it seems to be coming from all over, but go ahead. Now that you're all in darkness and you don't have other distractions, go ahead and make a perception, either alertness or awareness roll. And tell me which one it is and how many successes you got.
Alertness, 3.
Alertness, 3.
I'm going to do awareness because this obviously has to do with dead things, right?
Yep. Alertness, 2.
Okay.
I did awareness. I got 4.
Okay.
I did awareness and I got 6.
Okay. 5.
I did alertness and got 5.
Okay. For those who did alertness, the sound and feel of the wind seems to be coming from a north eastern direction. And it seems to be more intense from that direction. For those doing awareness, it feels colder in that same northeastern direction. And that's weird because your kind doesn't really feel cold. But this seems to penetrate even your vampiric bodies, as there's this void seems to be stronger in that direction. What do you do?
Is northeast, how does that relate to the direction I was going?
You were going
pointed.
more of a northwestern direction before.
Okay.
Sounds
So we-
like it's on our right.
Yeah.
We should
right.
probably head toward it.
Yes, the sounds seem to be coming more intensely from that direction.
We have to go directly into the wind.
Directly in it is then.
I mean,
That makes
the
sense.
alternative is to stay put, and I'd rather not. So, onward ho.
See this through.
Don't put me ahead of everyone.
I need Walter, who's driving these horses, to make a manipulation plus ride or animal can. I'll let you pick either one.
Okay.
The difficulty is 8 because these horses are, even the Gould ones seem a little bit at ease in this forest.
Manipulation. Dang. All right.
From my position, I don't know if I can inside the carriage. I think it's eye contact. Hold on.
Yeah, I was just about to say, can I lend him a little bit of help from the top of the carriage?
I'd say you'd have to get a little bit closer to the horses to have more of an effect on them.
I was about to say, eye contact must be established. But
Well, all right. I have a dice penalty too. It's just gonna follow me around everywhere we go. So this will be fun.
I
The
know
first
feeling.
die is a 1, so we're gonna do real good here, guys.
No,
0 success total.
Big oof.
Okay.
I didn't know it was
Liam.
gonna be a manipulation roll.
Liam, as you're going to be helping with Henry driving this, go ahead and make a roll for manipulation and either animal can or ride.
I have the same amount of dice. So.
What's the difficulty?
For you
that
or
will-
for him?
Because that will change. Because if it's a different difficulty, I've got a 6, a 7, and 2 8s. So I'm currently at 4 if it's standard diff.
No, it is not. It is difficulty. I'll say since you're only helping, difficulty 7.
Okay, so then 3.
Okay. You're okay. You're able to help guide Henry as, again, you see these trees as you just pass and they look sickly and pale and gaunt, and you're starting to see what Wea saw of every so often. You swear in looking in the knots in the trees and the way that the branches are, you swear you see like a face stretched and torn in anguish and pain. Walter, you are trying to avoid, but with no light and going just by your perception of the cold feeling in your soul, or what's left of it, and the sound of the wind, and letting that help steer you and the horses. You didn't botch, so you still have control of the reins, and the horses aren't bolting, but they are jumpy. You've been around horses almost your entire life, and you know that these things are on the verge of the right thing is going to cause them to bolt if they can pull away from. And you also remember that you guys kind of jimmied this thing to have 6 horses on it.
Now it's got 4, right? On the front.
Correct. And all of a sudden the carriage, and there's a hitch in, and the carriage bolts to a stop, where even the horses seem upset by this, and you get stuck for a second.
Hell. Shit. Do I feel us leaning in a direction in one of the 4 corners of wheels?
You feel a little bit leaning towards, like you're kind of tilted to the left a little bit.
I think the wheel got caught in some. I don't want to let go. Do the horses stop pulling entirely?
I mean, they're trying to pull a little bit.
Them?
They're trying to pull a little bit, but if you pull on the reins, they'll stop.
Can I urge them to make a tug?
Sure. Go ahead and make a I'll say charisma plus animal mechanics. Try and get them to go. Difficulty is 7.
Okay. That's 3 successes.
You urge, and they, despite their obvious fear and panic, they start to pull, and the carriage just isn't there. You see it where their hooves are digging in the snow, and they're trying to pull forward, and their muscles are straining, but there's something that's holding the carriage back.
Okay, I pull back. Whoa. I think the wheel's caught on something on the left, or I don't know. When y'all check?
We don't want to stray too far. I would say one of us get down, and the other of us kind of keep hold so we don't accidentally lose each other.
I'll scramble down and check the wheels of the carriage at first.
Okay. Perception alertness.
Okay. I got 3.
With 3 successes, Noah, the first thing you notice, you climb down from the carriage and you land in the snow. And as you're moving, again, the wind is blowing very heavily, the snow's kicking up. And even though, again, you're a vampire, so cold doesn't affect you as much, it's still a matter of it blowing in your eyes and things like that. And you're trying to go. And so it forces you to look down. And as you look down at your footprints in the snow is a good couple inches thick. As your boots sink down, you leave it up. You see the hole that your foot leaves, and there's where should be the ground, the top soil underneath the snow. You notice something wet.
I'll reach down and touch into the last foothold that I made, and see what the wetness is, how deep that goes.
The ground seems damp. Now, again, that's not completely abnormal given snow impact on the soil and everything else. you bring it to your like right in front of your eyes because it needs to be almost that close to see anything, given that you're in complete darkness at this point. It's dark. It is a dark, thick liquid of some kind.
I'm gonna give a holler and say, fellers, the plan with looking for a light in the darkness. I don't see shit. So can we light something up and see what we're looking at? Maybe a lantern from the inside of the carriage?
What happened to who's inside? Would be where
yeah, I can do it if we need to.
Yeah, I'll say again, I told you guys many sessions ago that if it's a small controlled flame that's anything smaller than a fireplace or a campfire, it makes you cringe, but something to the equivalent of lighting a controlled flame in a lantern or a cigarette or something like that won't be enough where I'm going to make you make a frenzy check. It's the 1800s. You have to be around the flame at some point.
I have a flint and steel in my possession. Am I able to just reach up to the corner of the wagon and light a lantern for us?
Sure, go ahead.
All right. I guess there's no roll for lighting a lantern. That's an everyday thing. We know how to do that.
I'm not going to make you roll for that. I mean, you have to kind of sit there and protect it a little bit, but luckily the little lantern itself helps protect against the wind.
The entire dead forest is now on fire. We can see our way out.
We know what gender the children are.
Go ahead and you light that lantern, and it produces, again, you know how much light a lantern produces. This seems to be about half of that.
I'm going to hold my hand kind of close to it and take a look at whatever the stickiness was in the wetness.
It looks a deep crimson red. And you're a vampire. It has the viscousness of blood. And you look up, and I need everybody who is looking up looks just, you see the trees that are right immediately around you. And in the light, you see a dozen figures just standing just outside of the light. Eyeless sockets and mouths just adding to this howling wind as they disappear, almost blown by the wind and break up into the snow as these pale figures just disappear into the darkness just outside the vision of the little bit of light that the lantern gives.
Worst Mentos ad ever.
I don't like this turn out the light thing. I think we should leave them on.
And I will say, Noah, you do look down at the back right wheel.
Mm-hmm.
There is a tree root. It's not blocking the wheel. It is between the spokes.
I'm kind of used to roots. Roots are something I deal with on a daily, and I'm gonna stab the shit out of it with my shovel.
Oh god.
Okay. Yeah.
It seems like a logical conclusion.
We've presented Noah with a chance to dig, and Noah is digging.
Dig? Question mark?
Okay, Noah. Go ahead and make I'm not even gonna say it's gonna be a dex melee. Just go ahead and roll your strength plus any bonuses that your shovel gives you.
Okay, strength plus bonus. I don't think I have a bonus on my shovel yet. That's something I gotta talk to Josephine about.
+5 the holes.
I mean, what did Josephine do to your shovel again?
Nothing yet. I have a silver dagger that she coated, but I don't have anything special on my shovel other than serration.
Okay, then it's just your normal whatever your
Strength potent.
I mean, I think I gave you stats for the shovel.
Yeah.
So it's whatever the stats for the shovel are.
Okay. So again, it's just rolling strength plus shovel damage.
Yep.
Okay. Ooh, 3 rerolls. Hell yeah. Oh, 1-1.
Boy.
That's 4 successes with the 1. 4, 5. 7 successes. Heck yeah. 3 rerolls.
All right. Before any of you can say anything else, Noah pulls out his shovel from behind his holster on his back and snaps down as you all start to gather. And I assume some of you start to look and see what he's doing. And I'll say, I'm not even going to make you guys make a wits roll. It doesn't seem logical. There's no way that this branch or this root inserted itself between the spokes as things were. It's not like you guys sidelined into it or something like that. And he begins snapping down on it. And instead of sap, there is this splattering on your boots and the lower part of your pants, and more of this red, dark, thick liquid starts pouring from the root as you start smashing your shovel into it, and the wailing of the wind gets louder.
God.
And you hear the creaking and moving of branches. I need everybody to make a perception plus alertness roll.
Oh, okay.
Three tens.
4 successes.
3.
5. 3. All right, yeah, you all rolled amazingly well. You notice as this isn't just the wind anymore. The trees, the branches are starting to close in, and roots are starting to move and churn the ground as the soil is being moved. This red liquid starts to be disturbed and starts to, almost like a really disgusting snow cone, bleed through from the snow and make the snow into this red slush as the roots start to slither almost like snakes and the branches start to close in.
No, I think it off.
And that's where we're going to end things for tonight.
Oh,
Cliffhanger.
Just before we go, can I lick a finger and see if this is good blood?
no.
Good blood, bad blood?
Every time it's magic blood, it's bad blood.
Going into a
I think
block.
we would have figured that one out.
Go ahead, Noah, and give me a what would this be? Perception plus medicine roll.
Oh no.
No, you got nothing.
If you don't have medicine, the difficulty is 7.
He's not
It's a
making you
difficult
roll
roll.
stamina yet.
It was a 1. It went to a 0 because of the ones.
You have
After the
no idea.
reroll.
Like you do it, and in the meantime are distracted by the trees and everything moving around you and the wailing increasing. And you don't, it's kind of like one of those things like playing a song on your playlist and then realizing you weren't paying attention to the song. So you have to sit there and repeat the song in order to pay attention to it. You licked it, and just as you were trying to ascertain what it was, you realize that you got distracted and didn't pay attention to what you just tasted.
Amazing.
That sounds very familiar.
Yes. All right, everybody. So that is the end of tonight's session of Tumbleweeds and Tombstones. Thank you, everyone at home, for joining us. If you liked what you saw, please like, subscribe, share below, post questions and comments. We're still working out of whether we're going to play on the 30th or not of this year. But either way, we will not be seeing you before at least one of the many holidays. Whatever you celebrate, if you celebrate anything, I hope you celebrate it with friends and family, whether they be blood or found family. Happy holidays from all of us at Tumbleweeds and Tombstones. And as always, keep your fangs and your wit sharp, and we'll see you next time.
I celebrate
Hey.
Wine Tuesdays.